Hello there, friends and listeners and friendly listeners and listener friends. It's me, Karyn Bensinger, here to announce myself on a podcast. You already clicked to have my name on it, so you knew it was me. We'll figure this out. I am so excited today to bring you this episode. This is the first in a series of interviews I will be doing with various artists, authors, different people who work with art in different mediums, to talk about how the pandemic is affecting what we're doing, if it's affecting what we're doing, if it's affecting us professionally or just like at our like hobby level, what's going on with all the art and all the things in the art, what's happening. My first guest in this highly curated selection is my friend Crystal Jurado, who I met in, I want to say 1999 in a community college improv class. When I met her, she was doing a lot of music at the time. Presently, she is a special effects makeup artist professionally, and she will talk about how she got in that field in the interview. It's a pretty cool story. I want to thank Crystal for taking the time to do this, to kind of be, this is the first time I've recorded through Zoom, so I'm still figuring some stuff out, but we landed the interview, we got it done. It's really awesome. If you want to check out her Instagram to see some of the art projects she's been working on in pandemic times, you can check her out at overture_FX on Instagram. I will include that link in the show notes, along with my Instagram, KBenWrites. If you are an artist and you're hearing this and you would like to talk to me about how the pandemic is affecting you and your work, please drop me a message and we could talk about it. And no matter where you're listening to this, feel free to leave a comment or like it or dislike it. I don't know. Give me some feedback on what's happening here. And so I can move forward and sharpen this thing up and make it really cool. Thanks for your time and enjoy the interview. Well, thanks for connecting and doing all the tech support to be here for this. This is cool.
You can thank Heather for the tech support.
Yes, Heather, thank you.
I sped. That's all I did.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
This
is exciting. This is the first of these interviews I'm doing, so we're going to kind of just figure out what the hell we're talking about, and we'll make it work. So
cool.
First of all, hi. It's good to see your face and say hello.
Indeed.
I am wanting to just dig in with people who are artists, because I know that like this last year for me has been so crazy creatively. Like, part of me is like, this is when I'm going to make really good shit. And then the other part of me is like, nah, I don't have.
Yeah.
Truth. And in talking to other artists, like it seems to be a common thing. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about. But to get started, like, first of all, I associate you with music first and foremost, because that's what you were doing when I met you. But I know that you are doing a lot of other stuff. So I first wanted to give you a chance just to kind of like, what are you working on? What do you do? What's your art medium right now?
Right now, I mostly do special effects makeup, and I just started doing, during this pandemic, a lot more like painting, but not like painting in the conventional sense, more like I've been practicing doing a lot of mask painting to try to get my skills up so that when we do go back to set, maybe I'll be a better painter and can do more application. And then I just started painting anything I could get my hands on, and I've been doing paint pours and all kinds of bullshit. No music though, whatsoever.
I mean, I think things that just keep shifting. I don't know. So because I know for you, because of the effects work that you do, like that's your job, like that's your occupation. Is this time, this window of this, I don't even know what to call it, the pandemic times, is that affecting like stylistically or like motivationally anything? Like, I don't know, like how did you work before and how are you working now? Is it the same exact kind of thing? Is there a difference in any of that?
I think it took like several months to kind of get moving. Funny enough, I think we had to actually move apartments entirely for me to get my motivation back. I needed a whole new space and something to do that was, I think, doing something different than what I usually do is always a good way to pull myself out of a rut. And I think like moving was the ultimate way to do that. But I find that in the beginning, it just seemed like I didn't know what to do with all the extra time because I'm always so busy and I'm always doing so many things that suddenly not having somewhere to be and something to do was like really odd and caused a lot of stress, oddly enough. But I think that now that I've had a little time and new space and a new environment, it's allowed me to focus more and spend the time doing things that I think will make me a better artist after this blows over, and just using my time a little bit more effectively and trying to do a little side hustle with the little paint pour stuff. Whereas before, doing all the makeup stuff was so consuming that I didn't really get time to work on my personal skills as much. It was more like things I'd have to level up on just like on the job when it's a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. So I think now I'm finally starting to kind of embrace the me time and get some shit done. So
I can relate to that. I've spent, I think it took me until the middle of the summer to get my ass in gear to do something. And then I was like, I need to learn about cinematography because that's the weakest part of like my work is like, I didn't learn about cameras or anything. I just learned to point them at what I wanted to film and then go from there. But so it was like, it's that same thing though of like, I've been allowing myself to level up in that way now is like to kind of sharpen some of that. So when you're doing, do you find that like when you're doing the stuff that's unrelated to your effects work, like the paint pours, is it more just like art therapy kind of stuff, or are you picking up skills like little bits and pieces that you think you can apply later, or is it just kind of for you?
I think it's more an exercise in like patience and focus. Um, I think anytime I figure out I can do something and not make it terrible, I get like I have a moment of being obsessed about doing it for a while until it like wears itself out. So like I'm gonna probably make like 80 million shitty coasters and then open an Etsy shop and then be done with making coasters because that's what I do. But yeah, I think I've always been one to kind of want to just zoom past all the tedious work and like the focus and the, getting every little thing right. So I think this is kind of an exercise in that because there's many, many steps and many things that can get wrong. And I think that even though it's a totally different thing, I think that behavior and that mindset is one that will carry over. I feel like a lot of things I do work that way, where it's like it has nothing to do with what I'm doing, but somehow the practices carry over, the focus carries over.
Yeah. So in regard to the effects work that you do, how did you get started doing that?
That's, that show Face Off?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I really liked that show. As a kid, I really liked effects and stuff like that, but like, where we're from, like there's no way to get into that. It's like not even a thought. It's just a far off thing, especially when you grow up and you don't have like a computer or anything. So when I was watching Face Off, it reminded me that I had kind of an interest in that as a kid. And I kept having ideas like, oh, I would have done this or I would have done that. And then finally it was just sort of like, well, is there like a school or something? And we found that pretty much with the job I had at Guitar Center, there was no way I could do any kind of school like that because I had bills to pay and shit and no sugar daddy. So basically Heather had found a summer course at NYU that was just like a few hours, 2 days a week. And so I got my boss to allow me to do that, which was funny because I hired him. So it was pretty easy to be like, hey, let me come in late and I'll like stay late. And he was like, okay. So I took the class. I got bit by the bug. I couldn't take any more classes there because I'm not a full-time NYU student. So they just fucked me over. And then a year later, I found a master class at the place I work now. It was open to like every level. It kind of seemed above, like way beyond what I could do, but it was open to every level. So I took it with the big notion that I'm going to work really hard and one day they'll remember me and maybe I'll like be able to sweep the floor and get my foot in the door. So I took the class. I didn't know shit. There were people that were actually on the show Face Off in the class. I was totally like, what the fuck did I do? But I still worked really hard. I did make an impression. The year after that, I spent doing like little tiny things for friends and whatever and practicing. And I kept thinking like, man, if I didn't have this job, it's like taking all of my time. Like how good could I get at this if I actually spent hours a day trying to work on it versus how good I've gotten in like almost no time at all. So I kept thinking like, maybe I should just quit my job. In the meantime, the studio I work at now, I think they thought I was like a makeup artist just from Instagram and stuff. So they kept emailing me like, hey, could you help if we needed like some shop help for this or a runner for that or whatever. And I kept having to be like, no, my job. And finally I was like, I'm never going to get my foot in the door if this job's in the way. So I ditched the job, 14 years at that job. I said, peace. I was like, hey, that makeup I've been doing for only 2 years, I'm going to quit this job and go do that job. And what happened was they had wrote me to say, hey, if we have this job like in a few weeks, could you do it? So I wrote them back saying, hey, I know I've had this job. I'm not going to have this job after this date. Hopefully something will work out. And then I didn't hear from them for like 4 months. So I guess I was late. I kind of thought I blew it. And then we were going to go on a trip. And of course, that was when they called. They emailed me. They wanted to go exactly when my trip was planned.
Okay.
And they wanted me to help them with the master class, which I even thought I was like, that's crazy. They don't know that I don't know anything. fuck. So I ditched my trip, stayed, did the class. It was like my blood offering. I had to sacrifice my trip for the thing. And then they just got busy and I've been there ever since. So somehow I got to scoot past all the like, freelance crazy stuff. And
that's awesome.
It's weird. It shouldn't have worked out like that, but
no, that's like one of those cool stories. It's like it can happen. It can actually happen.
I wouldn't advise anybody to believe that could happen because that might be actually kind of foolish. I just got lucky.
But it did happen and it's really cool. And you've been able to work on like stuff that people have seen in things and like, what does that feel like as just someone who like to have something out there that so many eyes are looking at? I don't know if you want to throw out any stuff that you've worked on that's something that you did that when people were responding to it, like, yeah.
Well, it's hard because like I've never been like super starstruck about anything, whether it be music or anything. I'm just always like, whatever. But it's always hard because like I do a lot of things for this company and not all of them are makeup. Like a lot of it is just keeping shit organized, making decisions, making sure people are where they need to be. Like I do a lot of different things. The makeup I mostly like just assist with or help out with. Sometimes I go do makeup, or do parts of the makeup with them, but more often than not, I feel kind of like a baby from Dirty Dancing. I was just like, I carried a watermelon. That's kind of like, but I'm learning from like the best people in the business and they like, they teach me a ton of stuff. They encourage me. I'm learning stuff the right way. So the only way I have is going to be like the right way. So I think, and I know that what I'm bringing to the table, even if it isn't always like hands-on makeup stuff, it's like that shit wouldn't go off as smooth as it did without everything that I did. So it's cool. I do my own makeup, obviously, like when I'm fucking around at home or want to, work on practicing stuff on people here. And sometimes like there are jobs that they will send me out on, but it's still really cool to like see something and know I was like right around the corner when they I was like, I was standing right there, that's about it. I mean, there are some funny moments on set with people where I'm like, this is actually my life. This is so bizarre.
Well, and okay, here's a random as I was researching you before we sat down today, I was just looking at some stuff. But you were in the background of some like The Irishman, like behind the scenes something or something.
Yes. I was not supposed to be there. That was actually my first job on set. Like on a real set. Scorsese movie. What happened was, this was like right when I first started at the shop. And so we did the master class, and that rolled right into us doing the Heidi Klum Halloween. So they kept me on because like they needed help with the build for that. And then while we were doing that, they were doing the Irishman. So of course there ends up being a schedule conflict. So we're supposed to go do Heidi Klum, but we're also supposed to stay on set and do the Irishman. So they end up keeping me on the Irishman with them off the books, like paying me through the shop. Nobody's really supposed to know I'm there because I'm not union, and it's a union job and all this shit. And so my boss had to go do the Heidi Klum makeup. And so he was like, I need you to stay and babysit the makeup. I was like, which I had been doing the makeup with him, like assisting him with the actor this whole time. So it wasn't like the actor didn't know who I was or anything, but nobody else knew who I was there. I wasn't supposed to like let anybody see me working on him or anything. It was like supposed to be like, nothing's going to happen, but you know, if something does, we know you know what to look for. Okay. So of course he comes back from lunch and he's like, my face is all fucked up. He's like, my face is falling off. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm not supposed to touch his face or anything. But then I asked the girl who my boss put in charge to help me out. And she's just like, just take care of it. And I'm like, all right. So I fix it. I'm like totally freaked out. I don't know what's going to happen. And then they're just like, we wrapped him. So he never had to go to set. I fixed all this shit and then had to take it all off. And then I had to run my ass to the Heidi Klum thing and fucking take the makeup off like 10 fucking zombies. It was great. Missed the whole fucking thing. Like literally, I get there, Heather was at the party. I'm like, let's at least take a picture on the red carpet because everything's done. We get around the corner where the red carpet is. Shit you not, somebody's rolling up the red carpet and they're like turning off all the lights. I'm like, yeah,
oh, no.
That's my night. So it was pretty crazy.
Oh, that's wild. Well,
yeah. But yeah, I wasn't supposed to be there. And of course, I'm the one person on our team that's like actually on camera.
And you have a very recognizable style that's like, oh, there's Crystal. I saw the screen cap and I was like, oh, there, yep. Just the hair alone, I was like, I recognize that.
Yeah, I had to wear a beanie once at set because it was 0 degrees and nobody knew who I was. Like I literally had to take it off because the day before I was talking to them, they knew who I was, and then nobody was coming to me to tell me when to go to set, and they just didn't know who I was.
Yeah, so. When you blend in on set, it's kind of a weird magical thing. I did an episode of Girls when I still lived out in Brooklyn, and the costumer chose for me to be wearing like gray and black, and I had big like headphones just because it was like a warehouse party. Everyone thought it was crew, so they kept asking me questions because I looked like I belonged there, and I was like, no, I'm just trying to charge my phone. So, but yeah, set culture is that interesting thing of if you're not looking for it, you don't see it, or if you don't stand out, everyone just kind of buzzes around and does their own.
Yeah,
it's a weird world. I miss it. I miss being out doing this stuff, and that's I think part of what's driving me a little bit nuts right now is trying to do anything is so it's solo work or maybe 2 people. I mean, yeah.
Now it's as work comes back, I get irritated because now I can't do like side shit that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, God damn it. When do I get to leave work?
I've had that. I've been anything I've been doing from home, but it's been so sparse that I'm like, what happens when I have to actually go in somewhere and be there for 8 hours? And
you're going to get 80 COVID tests. That's what's going to happen. I have done it. I literally got 5 tests in 6 days. Just between being on set and stuff like that. And everybody has their different people you got to get it from. And like, it's like, are you going to pay me for my time when I go get the COVID test? Because that's going to take my fucking time. I'll kill you.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess that's a good sign that they're trying to keep it locked down and all that, I hope.
Yeah, it's weird. A lot of it feels like they're just doing it because that's the only way it's going to happen. Because then there's a lot of nonsense you see where you're like, bitch, that ain't. Don't be all like acting like you care about the rules and then just be letting this or that happen. Nonsense. Whatever.
No, it is. It's such a weird time. And I mean, I guess this doesn't necessarily apply so much to the work you're doing, but I don't know. I mean, in film and television in general, a conversation I've had in regard to the way stories are going to be told. So we're going to have like a pre-COVID and post-COVID stories where like the post-COVID stuff is going to have to incorporate like masks and like the weird aesthetic of our apocalyptic future. I don't know. Like,
I don't think so. I mean, I've been on set and what I saw was when people weren't on set, some of them had masks.
Yeah.
Like they would have the masks when they were like off in the wings waiting to do their shit.
Mm-hmm.
But when they were on, they didn't have masks on.
Like we're just going to be pretending.
Well, no, I think they were just trying to, for everybody's benefit, like do their best. But there was a lot of enforcement with like people being in little pods and you couldn't talk to anybody wearing this color and that color. But it was like, it's difficult because it's like all of the makeup people need to be nearby their people. And yet they can't always find enough room for it. So it's like we end up getting shoved like down the street by a trash can that's overflowing. And it's like fucking crazy. And there's like no monitors. And it's like, just bananas.
Yeah. It's
but luckily, I think it's easier for us because we don't do like background or like we usually will be working on like 1 or 2 people and that's it. Like we don't do any of the other normal makeup or any of that stuff. So it's a little easier for us to be like, no, I need to be where I need to be because that's principle.
Yeah.
I deal with it.
You're a specialized group.
Yeah.
Handling it.
Yeah. So I get to be a little
elbow your way in there.
About it. Yeah.
Well, so you're already back at work and doing stuff. In a weird halfway space of kind of and kind of not.
I almost got stuck in London.
Oh, no.
Literally, it all blew up right as I came back from London.
Oh, jeez. Do you feel like already with the having a foot back in at work, is that affecting the other stuff that you're doing, like your other creative endeavors? Is it making you want to get back to your stuff that's not for work? Or
I think but the balance of them both right now is pretty good because I can also use the shop to do some of the stuff that I'm doing that would be a little gnarly in my apartment because a lot of the stuff I do uses a lot of chemicals and crazy shit that makes the apartment smell bad. So it's nice to have the privilege of being able to just go to the shop and use the shop facilities for whatever I want to do. So like today, we had a lot of stuff to pack up for the job we're doing on Halloween. And, but because I wasn't needed for a lot of it, like they just sort of needed me, like in case something came up, I just got to sit there and like work on my coasters all day. But the thing is, after Halloween, I probably won't work for the rest of the year, at all.
That makes sense.
So even if like, we have something here or there, it's not going to be a lot. So even if I want to get back to like doing my private stuff, I know like there is going to be plenty of time to do it. Don't you worry. Yeah. So.
Awesome. Well, that kind of rounds out the questions that I had about all this stuff. Where, if people want to buy coasters, where do they find your coasters?
on Instagram or like Instagram, Overture Effects, or just face. I don't know how you find me on Facebook. What do you find me on? Crystal Jurado?
Yeah, Crystal Jurado. I'll put the Instagram in the show notes so people can find you if they want to check you out. And
yeah, right now it's like such a small thing that it's like just easier for people to just like DM me, and I'll be like, "Your coasters, what colors do you want? $40.
Put your drinks on these." Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, I can also do other stuff. Like I might start doing different things, like tabletops or like hangers or whatever. If you want some paint cord shit, talk to me. I'll see if I can make it happen.
It's really cool stuff, and what you've been doing has been so awesome. As someone who's known you for as long as I have, to see I don't know, anytime I'm watching someone and like, you know, you've been doing such cool stuff, and like you're in a medium where you can show like, oh, I worked on this and I was part of this team and I did this, and that's been really fun to see that all unfold, and then to see your awesome coasters has also been really cool. So I appreciate.
They're probably gonna fall apart in 5 minutes.
So please use them with caution.
They haven't been road tested. I should get a lot of drinks and put a lot of drinks on them and make sure they're solid.
The problem is, like, it's not like you can't host a party to test the coasters. It's just be like,
I know. It's not my fault.
Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time to chat today and talk about all this stuff.
Good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. So
one day I will go back to California
and sell your coasters by the roads.
That's exactly. This can be like an outlet because I'm going to have like 80 million of them
out here in the high desert coaster outlet. Well,
swap meet.
That's right. Oh yeah, the swap meet. I think that's a perfect location.
Yes.
Awesome.
What's going to happen?
All right. Thank you so much. And
no doubt.
See you.
Have a good night.